What is up, fellow MCOC players? My name is Joel. Welcome back to the channel today. I have been getting questions ever since the patch dropped in regards to my opinion on what characters people should be ranking down, who they should be ranking up, and really everything is subject to change once Kabam finally makes up its mind. But a lot of the questions really seem to be revolved around X23 and the classic Wolverine. I went ahead and I did downrank my Cyclops that I got from Realm of Legends. He was at 550, and I took all of those catalysts and gold and everything and stuck those over into my classic Wolverine to get him up to 550 along with my X23. Had a couple signature stones, mutants as well, so I was able to put those in and get them both on signature level 21. You will notice that Wolverine is quite a bit lower on the prestige than X23, so do keep that in mind. If you are in an alliance that's kind of working towards endgame. For reference sake there, as you can see, I do have 1 point in deep wounds, which initially put that there just so I could have access to the assassin mastery. But with the changes here, I probably will be moving some of that around. But until everything is finalized, I really didn't want to put any units and spend any units until I knew exactly what was going on. As you can see, I am running a mutant synergy team. One of the best synergies in the game that you can get is built around the mutants. They've got a great synergy in regards to critical damage and attack power. Really good team to run in. So this is the Superior Iron Man. This is the last chapter. I always say this wrong. This is 4.6 in Road to the Labyrinth of Legends. And I am mirroring the fights obviously here. I'm no Diggity Dave, so please be gentle with my editing skills here. This was the first time I've tried to do anything like this. I chose this particular fight because one, it's going to be a long fight. He's got the regen, which is going to make it a little bit longer, but also because he does have the spiked armor buff. I'm going to be constantly taking damage, so the healing factor is going to come into play here as well. The first thing that you will notice and that you should be aware of is X23 does have a heavier bleed attack than the classic Wolverine does. I think that's fairly obvious. As you can see there, he's ticking for, what is that, 147, and then the classic Wolverine is down at 114. So about a difference, I think that's what, 33 points. Which, and I apologize, it did freeze up there for a second. I was having some issues with my reflector. But anyway, even though X23 has got a little bit heavier bleed attack, what you will notice, and you kind of have to go back and watch the clip a couple of times, but when the physical resistance buffs are equal on both sides, you will notice that Wolverine's regular medium attacks and light attacks actually hit a little bit harder than X23 does. Somewhere in the ballpark of like 20 to 30 points higher. So really, even though the bleed from X23 is stronger, you're basically getting about the same damage output from both characters, which I was really surprised to see. One thing to keep in mind is I'm really not using any specials. I think I may have used an S2 with Wolverine there at the beginning, but not using any with X23. And the reason for that is in order to get your maximum amount of regen, it's all based upon the amount of power that you have down there. So the more power you have, the more regen you get back. And in a fight like this, and with all the damage that you are now taking when you parry and when you block, you almost cannot afford to not have a full 3 bars of power. As you can see right there, X23 is ticking for about 167 on her regen. Wolverine is kind of all over the place just because of his awakened ability. But generally, if I can just get one regen off here, I think he's at 162. Let me see here. Yep, right there, 162. And that really kind of surprised me because I was always under the assumption, and it always felt like Wolverine's base healing was more than X23. But in fact, I mean, the X23 is technically a little bit higher there, but they're basically the same. The big difference, though, as you can see there, now that I've got a couple stacks with Wolverine, which you just do not have the ability to do that with X23, it's healing for quite a bit more. X23 on the right there did finish first, just because I did take a couple of hits with classic Wolverine. But as you can see here, 191 for X23 and 194 for Wolverine. So that really was not the how do I want to put this? It was not the result that I was expecting, which I don't know if all of the physical resistance buffs and the armor that superior Iron Man was continually getting was somehow throwing off the readings. I don't believe it should, but I personally was expecting to see X23 somewhere in the ballpark of probably 15, 20 or more hits less. Because I had always played her assuming that her bleed attack was that much stronger than Wolverine's. So at the end, I don't have as clear of a picture as I thought I was going to when I began this testing. It comes down to just a couple things for me. One, again, if you are towards the end game and prestige is something that matters to you, then X23 is the clear choice. The other The other advantage that X23 brings is that if you are running up against bleed immune champions, X23 is going to get the buff to her critical rate and to her critical damage, which is still going to keep her somewhat viable in those situations. However, if you bring Wolverine up against a character that is bleed immune, his base damage that he does is just not very strong. He does have a very strong regen, so that will probably keep you in the fight, but just beware, it's going to be a very long fight. So X23 kind of has the advantage there. I was really hoping to be able to provide more of a definite answer on who the choice should be. I think ultimately, if you have both of them, you should take them both to 550. You can't go wrong with either one of them, to be totally honest with you, with the way the game is set up right now. But if you are in the situation where you have both of them and you can only take up one, I would probably, if it was my account, I would take up X23 first. If you are a newer player to the game, and only if the classic Wolverine is awakened, I probably could say that you may benefit more from having the classic Wolverine, because you're going to be able to get your regen back quicker as you are taking damage, which for a newer player, as you're kind of learning the ropes, is a very important thing. But ultimately, I think the prestige boost, the benefit that she gets when she's fighting against bleed immune champs, gives her a slight edge over classic Wolverine still. So I hope that this was a little bit of a help to you. I know a lot of people are frustrated, kind of holding on to their rank down tickets, just waiting to see what the ultimate, final update with this patch is going to be, what the announcement is that's coming on Monday. But I think regardless of what the announcement is, either way, I think X23 and Wolverine are still good options for you to look at taking up, to the highest rank that you've got available to you. So until I see you guys in the next video, fingers crossed for the upcoming announcement on Monday, and have a great weekend.